So this one is gonna be a little different. I've been shooting for years. Mountains, oceans, bikes, you know, normal sized things. But proper macro, that was never really my thing. I mean like bugs. Well, until now. Tamron sent me their new 90mm macro, which is basically a microscope disguised as a lens. And as the spring was in the full swing, I have traded wide landscapes for some tiny flowers. And occasionally, some really scary spiders. Well now, let's see what this lens can do out in the wild. So, the beauty of the springtime for us photographers is that it really doesn't take much effort to find some gorgeous subjects to shoot, as basically everything is blooming right now. Plus there is something kinda poetic about riding your bike through the forest, chasing tiny flowers with a macro lens in your backpack. Does it kinda force you to slow down a bit, take a moment and start exploring the whole micro universe at the level of your feet. And this is where this macro beast excels. It lets you get so close to your subject. I mean, like, look at this. The minimum focusing distance is just 23 centimeters for the 90mm lens, which is insane. Its biggest competitor, the Sony 90mm macro, has like 28 centimeters. And Tamron also gives you that beautiful 1:1 magnification ratio. Well, I know that there is still a chunk of the people who have quite hard times to understand what that actually means. But it just says that your subject, say a bug, is gonna basically appear on your sensor at the same size as it's in the real life. So imagine like a bug, centimeter tall, put it on your sensor and it's gonna take like 1 centimeter of the sensor space. So imagine it on like full frame camera with the 36mm wide sensor and put there like 3 centimeter bug, so it's basically gonna fill up the entire frame. You are literally stepping into the hidden world, which most people will never see. Alright, but first let's talk tech stuff. So Tamron 90mm f2.8 DJI VXD Macro. Sounds like a robot from the Star Wars, but in the end it won't be that difficult, I promise. f2.8, it means just a constant bright aperture, which is like huge help if you are in the low light situations. It also helps you to achieve the shallower depth of field or to achieve those beautiful background separations, which is something you totally desire from your macro lens. The Di3 in the Tamron language means just it's a design for the mirrorless cameras. And the VXD are Tamron's newest, fastest autofocus systems. See, I told you it won't hurt that much. Now we can finally find some flowers and give it a try. So I'm trying to stay light when I'm on the bike ride, so no tripod today. Which brings me to the point that the Tamron 90 doesn't have the built-in image stabilization. And it shouldn't be like the big issue because of the IBISes integrated in these new modern camera bodies like the Sony A7IV. It's fair to mention it because the Sony 90mm macro is actually stabilized, so let's see what we can get handheld from this beast. And I mean, wow, that's beautiful. I'm shooting here mostly around f2.8 to f4 because the wide open gives us that beautiful background blur, but we need to make sure that we will also nail the focus perfectly, which is where the focus peaking really helps. And I mean, look at the details this lens capture. It's so beautiful. Alright, now that we have seen what this thing can do out in the wild, let's break down the nerdy stuff. Because this little microscope lens has some details which you don't notice just from the photos. The new 90mm fits the hand perfectly. I mean, it feels just right. And thanks to the updated finish, it's just much more resistant to the scratches and those unwanted fingerprint smudges. So physically, 126.5mm long, 630 grams. Well, that's for the Sony E-mount version. Nikon Z-mount, it's about like 10 grams heavier, which I mean, like honestly, this feels like a solid chunk of glass, which is reassuring when you are crawling around in the dirt, chasing flowers. And now, Tamron also managed to stick with their signature 67mm filter thread, which is awesome because that all means that all of our ND or VND filters are totally interchangeable across most of their lenses. Saves money, saves space, saves me from forgetting on which filter goes on which lens. Now let's look at the focusing ring. I mean, it's buttery smooth with just the right amount of the resistance. And thanks to the rib design, it's grippy even when your hands are sweaty. Which they will be, because macro usually means kneeling in the weird positions and wondering why you just didn't stay at home. Now here's the great one. The USB-C port right on the lens barrel. Plug it in, open the Tamron's lens utility, and then you can update the firmware, customize the focus ring, or reprogram the focus set button. By default, the ring is set to non-linear, and that honestly sucks for macro. So switch it to linear, and suddenly, the precise focusing doesn't feel like the surgery with shaky hands. Right next to the focus set button, there is three-way focus limiter switch, and that can really speed things up depending on what you are shooting, because you can set it to full range or the portrait range, which is basically 0.7 meter up to infinity, or the macro range, which is the MOD up to 0.7 meter. The last one is an absolute gold. No more AF hunting like it's lost in the woods, it just locks in and it's fast. Now we get a little geeky and look inside. So we have 14 elements in 11 groups, with the LD elements to keep the chromatic aberrations under the control. Which, yeah, I hear that, so translation, there is no purple fringes on the flower petals. And this time we have 12 aperture blades, which means round creamy bokeh balls even when you stop down. And protection-wise, it's fully weather sealed, including the gasket around the USB-C port. I mean, I have dragged Amarans through the rain, snow, sandstorms, and they never failed. Basically, I usually get soaked before the lens does. And the hood, that might be my favorite feature. It's like it has a little sliding door for the circular polarizer, and you can adjust your CPLs without taking the hood off. I mean, like, seriously? Why don't all the hoods do this? It's genius! Optically, it handles flare and ghosting really well for the macro lens. Even shooting directly to the sun, not bad at all. And if you are into the MTF charts, here's one for you. Spoiler, it is sharp. Edge to edge. I mean, there is nothing to complain about. Well, unless your hobby is complaining. And finally, autofocus. Fast, quiet, and dead precise. IF, rock solid. I didn't miss a single shot. And manual focus, it's actually super fun. With the focus peaking on, it's just as dead precise and actually a joy to use. And that's exactly what you want from macro lens. So yeah, not just a microscope disguised as a lens, but it's weather-sealed, customizable, bokeh-making little tank that also happens to be insanely sharp. So yeah, sharpness, check. But since the spring was in the full swing, I wanted to push it a little farther and visit one last spot before calling it a day. So, come with me. Wow, okay, these cherry trees are absolutely stunning and kinda an allergy sufferer's paradise, if you know what I mean. But hey, anything for the shot, right? Let's see what we can get here. I mean, these blossoms, they are so pretty. Also perfect for checking the contrast and sharpness. I'm shooting here between f4 and f5 to make sure that I still get that beautiful, smooth, creamy bokeh, but also tons of the details. And even handheld, you can get some crazy results. You just need to time your breath with the shutter. Alright, that's enough Poland and pictures for today, so let's get back and check out the shots. So here we are, final thoughts. I mean, I honestly didn't expect to enjoy macro this much. Slowing down and chasing the details which are smaller than like postage stamp is kinda magical. And here's the thing, this is not just a buck and flower lens. It's also a killer tool for the product photography. It's super sharp, you know, precise focusing and clean rendering. And at 90mm, it doubles as a beautiful portrait lens. Flattering compression, beautiful bokeh. Basically your subject will thank you. New Tamron 90mm macro is just super sharp, customizable, weather sealed, and just plain fun. So if you ever wanted to dip your toes into the macro, or if you want a versatile 90mm for the portraits or products, this is just the perfect gateway lens. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hit the like or maybe subscribe if you wanna more gear talk. Let me know what would you shoot with the macro lens, cause apparently I shoot bucks now.